Civil rights leaders from 7 different organizations spoke virtually with President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris yesterday to advocate for diversity in their cabinet. Among those in attendance was Reverend Al Sharpton and the president of the National Urban League and, of course, the NAACP. They commended the incoming administration for their diverse cabinet picks, but urged the selection of a black attorney general. The NAACP is also pushing for a civil rights envoy position in the White House to advance racial equity. So President and CEO of the NAACP, Derrick Johnson, is joining us now to discuss the expectations leaders in the black community have for the president-elect. Thank you so much for joining us again. So I have to admit, when I heard that the NAACP was pushing for a civil rights envoy position, I thought to myself, I can't believe this position doesn't exist already. And it's particularly, I think it's been shown to be particularly needed since the pandemic. We can see the ways in which racial discrimination has impacted, African Americans and others in all sorts of different areas of our lives: education, healthcare, and then, of course, when it comes to the law and the justice system. Why do you think this position is so crucial?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me once again. The president-elect on several occasions during the campaign and even after the campaign said racial equity will be a priority of his administration. We really appreciate those statements. And now our question is, how do we ensure a successful outcome? The racial equity advisor to the president could hold the portfolio and oversee the process across all cabinets. Think about corporate America. Many corporations who recognize and appreciate diversity of their customer base, they have empowered the diversity and inclusion officer who reports to the president, the most successful ones, and they sit in the C-suite because it is the right sound business practice. It should be the sound practice of our governance to make sure we celebrate our diversity, build on our diversity, and look towards the opportunities of the future.
President-elect Biden has yet to unveil his choice of the Attorney General. I know we were talking about this, Derrick, before we got the announcement of the Defense Secretary. So what would you like to see from the President-elect when it comes to AG?
We need someone who can walk in the door on day one and get to work, someone who can build the confidence of the current employees at the DOJ, repair the damage and harm that has been done over the last 4 years, focus on the urgency of ensuring that all Americans are provided equal protection under the law, address the domestic terrorists that we have seen sprout up all across the country since Charlottesville, really zero down on the protection of the right of citizens to vote. The Public Corruption Task Force needs to kick in gear immediately because there's been so much public corruption coming from the White House. These are things that require someone not to have on-the-job learning experience. This is someone who needs to walk into the door of the job, who know immediately what to do, what the powers and authorities of the DOJ, and depoliticize how the Department of Justice has been politicized over the last 4 years.
So speaking of the Defense Secretary, Joe Biden plans to introduce retired Army General Lloyd Austin as his pick for the Defense Secretary. CBS News has also learned that he plans to tap Ohio Congresswoman Marcia Fudge as his Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Your reaction to those nominations?
Well, first of all, Congresswoman Fudge is a very skilled member of Congress. She served as chair of the Subcommittee on Agriculture. We will really promote her for the Department of Ag, but wherever she led, if she decides to join this administration, we know she will be effective because she understands how government works. She has the skill, the capacity, and the leadership ability to truly lead an agency to address the many constituents who depend on whether it's Department of Ag or Department of HUD in ways in which it can open up opportunity. And so we're really celebrating that. In terms of the selection for general, we're also excited about that. The armed forces for many individuals in this country are truly a way out of poverty. It is a way for people to get a sturdy foundation under them. And having someone who comes out of the military, understand the plight of working poor people, to stand up and show how the military can be a leader in the question of equity is important, but most importantly, someone who understands that our armed forces should be protected at all costs, because we just witnessed this year, unfortunately, our commander-in-chief allow a foreign nation take out a bounty on military armament serving overseas and say nothing about it. We need to strengthen the morale of our military, and I think General Austin can be the person to do that.
And Derrick, we talked about this, but during his victory speech, the president-elect thanked African Americans. He thanked all groups across the country for their support and their vote, but he also made a commitment to those groups that he would have a very diverse cabinet, a very diverse administration. Are you heartened by some of the moves that he and the vice president-elect have made so far?
I can say our meeting yesterday was a very positive meeting. You can see the passion in his conversation. So I believe his heart, I believe his motive are true. As our work to keep pushing to make sure we get the right people. And for the NAACP, we want to start at a level of talking about what is the policy and the priority, and then how do we ensure that what we say we do actually get measured. And what get measured is when we have somebody accountable to oversee it. And that's why we think we need to have an advisor to the president to address racial equity across the administration, regardless of the individuals who sit in the seat, black, white, male, female, young, old, Latino, but individuals who understand the priority of this administration is to build on our diversity and look towards a more prosperous future of opportunity.
So, Derrick, before I let you go, did the president-elect make any specific commitments to you and the NAACP and other civil rights organizations that will allow you to hold him accountable, and us too, as the press, to hold him accountable for commitments that he made specific to some of the requests that you have?
Well, the biggest commitment they made was to continue the dialogue, and that's really important. Any administration, in order for them to be successful, you have to open up dialogue, particularly to the civil rights community in this case, because his success can be our success, and our success could be embedded in how he governed these 4 years and how inclusive he will be for the citizens of this nation, and we can give him a perspective that he may find useful.
All right. Derrick Johnson, always great to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Later today, our colleague Tanya Rivero will speak with the president of the National Urban League. That's Mark Morial, who was also at that meeting with the president-elect. You can stream that conversation starting at 1:30 p.m. right here on CBSN.